Are you feeling stuck and hopeless? Are you in a dip or a valley right now? Or have you been in one recently? Or you just know that that inevitably there's a dip or a valley coming because that's life. Well, I just came through an excruciating dip and I learned some powerful steps that helped me to shake the depression, the fear, the desperation, and the complete and absolute exhaustion that I was feeling. These steps will help you if you're in the midst of a struggle right now, and especially number 4. So here we go. If you're new to my channel, welcome. My name is Carrie Stone, and this is Carry On, where we talk all things money, movement, and mindset. And today we're talking mindset because even though money and movement had a part to play in my recent dip, it was my mindset that had to be changed in order for me to get through the valley of depression and into the place that I am right now. And I think the same will probably be true for you. If you watched my recent video, then you know that I have been in the midst of a struggle lately. There's just a lot going on in my life right now. I've come to the final stages of the empty nest syndrome, which I never imagined would be so incredibly painful. And that, along with my current health issues, just really brought me to my knees last week. I've been exhausted and depressed and in a fight to not lose the ground that I've gained in the last few years in regards to my health. As I was wallowing in self-pity, I realized I needed some coaching. So I hired myself to get my life back on track, and it worked. If you're in need of some good old-fashioned feedback and inspiration, you can contact me at carries.carryon@gmail.com and schedule a coaching appointment. I would absolutely love to help you through your current valley. Anyway, to get back to what was going on last week. After we got back from California, I was absolutely just physically exhausted. It had been such an amazing time, but it was tiring and my body was really paying the price. But just mentally, I had also gotten incredibly paralyzed. I was stuck. And in that state of stuckness, my bottom got stuck to the sofa and started just binge watching and avoiding life, which is never a good idea. I couldn't do anything. I couldn't process anything. I couldn't create a video. I couldn't write anything. I just could not function. And I just decided this was not my story. This would not be my story. So I did what I do when I'm overwhelmed. I went to my good old journal and I started pouring out my feelings. And the more I wrote, the more I could see what was happening. You see, I had started into the empty nest phase 4 years ago. And in my ignorance, I really thought that I had succeeded at this empty nest thing, not realizing that it wasn't fully done yet. And as I wrote out in my journal, the truth came to me about what was going on. And this is what it was. And I'll try to tell you this without crying. 6 months ago, my daughter asked if I would sing with her in her senior recital. So for 6 months, we were working together on creating this song and we're performing a song together for her senior vocal recital. And this kept us connected. And it gave me something to really focus on and to work at. And so I worked really hard for that recital. And it was such an amazing blessing to be able to sing with my daughter for her senior vocal recital. But when that was done, it was like something got severed. And even though we have our next trip next month for her graduation, and she and I do have a mother-daughter trip planned for August, I've realized that at that recital, our relationship just completely changed. She got married last May, and so that changed things too. But she's still been in college. So we still had those planned vacations and those times when she would be back. And all of a sudden, I realized there were no guarantees anymore. There was no more, she's gone this long, and then we see her for this long. And I hadn't realized how much that was breaking me. And I understand that it's healthy and good, and I love her husband, and I'm excited for her future. But this was just something that my body was feeling and my heart was feeling. And it took me back to when I was 25 years old and I was leaving Delaware to move to Nashville. And I was driving down my mother's long tree-lined lane to get to the main road. And as I turned on my left turn signal, I looked up into the rearview mirror and my mother collapsed onto the driveway. She just fell to her knees and she was sobbing. And I remember wanting to go back and help her and just comfort her. And I realized I would only delay the inevitable. She still had to feel all of that. And as I was processing my feelings the other day, oh my gosh, I realized that was me. I was now my mom. I was the one collapsing to my knees before my Father in heaven to help me through this new change and this new season. And sometimes just coming face to face with what's going on inside of us is how we can then process it and get beyond it. And that's what started once I was able to acknowledge what was happening. You see, I feel like I'm not really ready for this next stage in life, but then at the same time, I'm really ready for this next stage in my life. Do you understand that? Maybe you're going through that too. Would you let me know in the comments below? Because I feel like somebody out there understands what I'm saying. You're ready, but you're not ready, but you are ready. Ready? You see, far too often we allow the pain of what is to take away the hope of what could be. And as I struggled this past week with pain and exhaustion, it was the hope of what could be that got me up and got me moving and got me out of the funk that was pulling me down. And this is what I did. First, even before I journaled, I had to just stop. I had to stop everything. The games on my phone, the TV, the crying, everything. I just had to stop. I had to sit in silence and breathe and just focus on breathing and being. And when I did that, that's what calmed me enough to get out my journal and start writing. I can't tell you enough how important it is to journal when you're feeling in the throes of depression and the inability to move forward. Journaling just helps you get the truth that's inside of you out and on paper so that you can acknowledge it and do something with it. So I stopped and I took time to breathe. I took time to feel. I journaled. And as I journaled, that allowed me to do the first important step, which was to name it. There's a name to whatever is going on in your life right now. There is a name to it. And maybe it's multiple names. Like for me lately, it has been the empty nest, my health issues, my business. Those I've had those, like the three things just kind of taking their turns beating up on me. But I had to just stop and name them so that I could then do something about them. So put a name on what is going on. Is it a dip? Is it a depression? Is it a valley? Is it the empty nest syndrome? Is it your business? Is it a struggle that you're having with your spouse? What is it? Go ahead and don't be afraid to name it. Once you name it, that helps you to accept it. Now, accepting it doesn't mean you just submit to it, but you can accept that it's going on. Like another thing I have happening right now is there's a virus that is just trying to take over in me right now. And I'm doing everything I can to squash it down and to push it out. But I had to name it so I knew what to do with it, right? If I didn't know it was a virus, then I might try to throw antibiotics at it, but antibiotics don't help a virus. So by naming it and understanding what it is that I'm battling, it helps me to know what tools to use. So that's why it's so important to give it a category, give it a name, so you know how to deal with it. And the other thing that I found in this step was to find the good in it. So yes, I was hurting over this transition time in the empty nest, but I love my son-in-law. But my daughter's really excited about this move. But my daughter and son-in-law are graduating from an amazing college with great futures and a hope and life ahead of them. There is so much good. And this dip that I'm going through in my business, it is making me stretch myself. It is forcing me to look at what I'm doing and find better ways of doing it. It is causing me to not be able to keep putting things off that I've been putting off. And so by naming it, I'm able to then accept it, and then I can find the good in it. There's usually some good to find in just about everything. So really scratch around, try to look for it, look for the things to be grateful for. The next step I took was I prayed and I planned. Can't express enough how important prayer is, because it helps to calm your nervous system. It helps to just get you breathing and focusing on who is in charge and who is not in charge. And it just helps you to get into the right mindset so that you can make your plan. I found with the way I was feeling last week that I couldn't set up too much in my plan. I needed to keep it simple. And I'm going to tell you, the way I got through last week, I had to keep telling myself, just do one thing and then do another thing. Just one thing and then do another thing. I didn't give myself these big lists of things to do. I just had to focus on one thing and then the next thing. Sometimes you just have to make it that simple. And when you're in the midst of depression or a valley or a struggle, the best thing you can do is simplify, simplify, simplify. And the way that I did this when I didn't want to be doing anything is I would justify the thing I needed to do. I would say, okay, I really need to go work out. I don't want to go work out, but why should I go work out? Well, if I go work out, it will move my body, which will help my limbs to feel better. It will take the pain away from my joints that I'm feeling right now. It will help me to get oxygen to my brain, which will help me to then be more creative when I get off of the treadmill, so I can then go and work on my script writing. Exercising has so many health benefits. So I would just sell myself on each thing that I needed to do. I would justify, why do I need to go work out? This is why. Okay, now it's time for a cold plunge. I don't want to do a cold plunge. But if you do a cold plunge, it will help with your pain and inflammation. The cold plunge will also boost your immune system, helping you to fight off that virus. The cold plunge is something hard that you'll feel good about yourself after you do it. So I just justified each thing that I needed to do. And I did that one thing at a time. When you're doing this, you're just reminding yourself of how each action is justified in your life and how it helps you to live a better life. And I found myself by the end of the week being reminded of why I do each action step that I take every day of my life. I resold myself on the daily routines that I have because I had a list of reasons why I do everything I do. So not only did it help to pull me through my depression and my dip, but it also just served as a reminder, and a foundation as to why I do the things I do every day. The next step I took was I had to consider my nutrition because let's face it, when we're depressed, when we're down, when we're stressed, the first thing we want to do is eat garbage. And I wanted to eat garbage. But I kept reminding myself why I don't want to eat garbage. First of all, maybe I was feeling the way I was feeling because the week before I hadn't eaten as well as I usually eat. Who knows? But I knew with how I was feeling that my nutrition really mattered more than it has ever mattered before. So I kept trying to fill my body with things that I knew would help to feed my body plus my brain and my mind and my emotions, and it would help to serve me. So I considered everything that I was eating and drinking, and I thought about how it would affect my body and how I was feeling. You want to avoid those depression foods, the ice cream, the chips, and anything that can weaken your immune system and also cause you to not um, be as strong physically and mentally as you would be if you chose better foods. Healthy food is helpful food. So remember that when you're wanting to eat something bad. And find better substitutes. Like I had 80% dark chocolate. So I could still have that. And that has been scientifically proven to help the brain. So, the 80% dark chocolate was a good choice compared to a Reese's cup, which would not have been a good choice. And then listen to your needs. So there was one day in particular, I just wanted to curl up on the sofa and binge watch TV. And so I negotiated with myself and I said, okay, you can go binge watch TV if you're rebounding, or if you're doing core exercises, or if you're doing some push ups, or, some sit ups, or something that would be helpful to my body. So as I was heading upstairs to go do that, I was thinking, I really want a bowl of cereal, but I don't keep unhealthy cereal in my house. All I had was some keto cereal, and I didn't have milk, and I really didn't want that keto cereal. So I went into my pantry hoping to find some leftover granola that I could use half and half with. And I found a healthy instant oatmeal that was apple cinnamon. And, it's one of those that has flax and chia seeds and everything in it too. And I was like, oh, yeah. So I fixed that. And I take that upstairs and I sit down on my sofa and I'm binge watching something on TV and I'm eating my oatmeal. And about 10 minutes later, I felt so much better. Like that oatmeal really did something for me that day. And so I'm really glad I listened to my body and gave it what it needed. So listen, and your body will tell you what it needs. And next, you have to remember that sometimes you just need to start over. You just need to go back to the basics and begin again. You see, since I started my YouTube channel, my house has gotten very out of control. And I had hired a cleaning person and then she got another job. And then I've been intending to hire another cleaning person, but I've been busy and I don't like strangers in my house and, all those things. And my house has gotten out of control. I don't like mess and disorder. So I just realized, okay, you know what? for a few days, I'm just going to put my YouTube channel aside. I'm going to think about some scripts that I'll be excited about, some videos that I just really want to make, and I'm going to write those, and I'm going to clean my house. And so I spent the day on Saturday just cleaning. And I got my whole house clean. And it just felt so good to reset my desk, to reset my kitchen, to reset my bedroom, to just start anew, going back to the foundational things and making those strong again so that I had a good starting place for this week. So sometimes you just have to stop and start over. And when you're doing that and you've cleared your work area and you've gotten yourself ready to be creative again, you might want to go back also and review your goals. So I had some time open up to me this month that I'm kind of excited to have now, because I can have that time for healing and for getting some other things done that I haven't had the time to do. And so I sat down and made a list of what I want to accomplish while I have this extra time. And I'm really excited that I finally am going to have the time available to do these very important things. So take time also to review your goals. Make sure that the ones that you have are the ones that fit your life right now, and they are the ones that you're going to be most excited about. You know, one step doesn't fix everything, but that one step can sometimes be just what you need to remind yourself of why you're doing what you're doing, and to give you a reason to take another step and then another step. You see, last week, one step seemed insurmountable. It just seemed so big. But when I just broke it down into smaller steps, I took that one smaller step and then another small step and then another small step. And now this week, my steps are getting bigger and longer and more powerful. And I'm able to do one thing upon another thing upon another thing. And I was able to take that downtime, use it to my advantage, so that now this week, I feel like I'm in a much more powerful position to actually get things done. The valley is a process. So stay patient. You know, these dips, the valleys, whatever you want to call them, sometimes they're not that long, but they can be that painful. Sometimes they last for a while. You just have to be patient. Just keep looking to the horizon. Keep looking beyond, and keep believing that there is a purpose for your life and what you're doing here, and you are valuable. I wanted to share a revelation that I learned last week. So I'm not one to play a lot of games on my phone, and I'm very restrictive about this. But for some reason, in the midst of my depression, I ended up downloading this new game. And I quickly made it to the very hard stage of the game. But right on like the hardest day I was having, I could not get through to the next level on this game. Every time I tried, that I would run out of time and I'd have to wait then 30 minutes to play the game again. But just as I was getting really frustrated, I realized how this fit with what was going on in my life. You see, every time I lost at the game, I learned something new. So each time I got to play it again to try to get to the next level, even when I didn't get to the next level, I learned something and I applied it the next time and the next time and the next time, until finally I played it and I got through it. And when I got through it that time, it was so fast, only because I had failed over and over and over again, and I had learned something every time I failed. So I realized that's what was happening in my life. That, yeah, right now I'm seeing this like failure, 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 but I'm learning every time I fail at something. And then I'm getting better every time I approach it. So don't give up. Learn from your failures. Learn from the things that don't work for you. and keep applying your new principles. And I'm telling you, you'll get to the next level. And then don't forget to make a plan. You really need to have a plan. You see, I could have lost my whole weekend to just nothingness. I could have just sat around and binge watched TV. But instead, I thought, how can I use this time to set myself up for success? And so I did those things that I needed to do to set myself up for a successful week. And so I want to make sure you do that same thing. Don't forget to develop a plan for yourself so that you can make the most of the time that you have. Have you been going through a challenging time in your life? What things have you done to keep yourself going so that you wouldn't quit? I would love to know. If you could share those things in the comments below, we can help each other to grow and to be our best selves. And if you liked this video, would you please help me to show the YouTube algorithm that I'm giving you what you want? Could you hit that like and subscribe button? And if you know anyone who could use this video, would you share it with them? Because it really does help me out with YouTube so they know what to share with other people. Your support and encouragement really do mean the world to me. And I have to tell you, it does make a difference on my hard days when you like and subscribe and comment and share my videos, because when I was feeling hopeless this past weekend, I would open up my YouTube app and see some encouraging messages, and it really did give me the boost that I needed to keep going. So thank you, thank you, thank you so very much for that. And if you're struggling with being stuck right now, you may want to watch this video right here. And until next time, carry on.